This like pin number what? 620. Say what? It was. Oh. Oh yeah, from 4 to 5. Today? Oh wow. Oh okay, okay. What's up, family? How's everybody doing today? If you are on Facebook, YouTube, if you are on Twitch, if you are on Periscope or Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever video or audio platform you're on, I want to welcome you to the Ramonepreston Show. You should already know by now, I'm your host, Ramonepreston, and one of my assignments, which is what we're displaying and demonstrating through this show, is to provide economic deliverance to our people, to our tribe, to those of you who are ready to get to your prophesied place. This is a part of prophecy being fulfilled when God said, by a prophet, Israel was delivered, and by a prophet, Israel was preserved. And so that's what we're doing. Make sure I'm clear on there, daughter, with my
You good?
Yeah, I am good. I am good. I am good. So everybody that's coming on, good afternoon. Today is Tuesday. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we should go ahead and rejoice and be glad in it. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. Tag Lolly Dolly, somebody or everybody, and let them know Prophet Ramonepreston and the Ramonepreston Show is in his house on this Tuesday. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sucking on a what do you call those things?
Good afternoon.
What is the thing? A cough drop, a Ricola. So y'all got to excuse me if I'm over here smacking my lips. I'm sucking on a Ricola while I'm working. But I'm excited about today because guess what we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about the 3 keys to become a social media-preneur. The 3 keys to become a social media-preneur. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, for those of you that have products and services, for those of you that have ideas, inventions, dreams, desires, or anything in between, I want to show you the 3 keys to become a social media-preneur. All right. So while I am working on preparing to share this information with you today, would you please be so kind? Please be so kind. YouTube, shout out to my YouTube family. I love you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you. Facebook, shout out to my Facebook family. I love you. Good afternoon. If you're on Periscope, if you're on Twitter, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Mars, holla at your boy. Hit that like button. Drop some comments in the comment section. Let's get some chat going. Let's get some questions going. If you have any questions, especially if you've been following the Ramone Preston show for the past few weeks, this is our fourth week, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is our fourth week. Yeah, this is week 4. So this is literally coming into the first month since we've launched the Ramone Preston show Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock p.m. And it's been extraordinary. I want to thank all of you on YouTube, on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, LinkedIn, and those of you that are on our email list, those of you that are on our text message list. Thank you for just reaching out, for giving us some feedback and just letting us know that you are literally enjoying the Ramone Preston show and you're learning a lot. So today we're going to talk about the 3 keys to become a social media-preneur. Now, the word social-media-preneur is actually a word that I just made up. And one of the reasons why I wanted to merge these 3 words together, of course, we're familiar with social media, that phrase, and we're familiar with entrepreneur, but we're in a different world, especially since we've experienced COVID-19. We're in a different world. And because we're in a different world, because we are considered to be in a post-pandemic age now, it's important for us to know where we are in light of the opportunities to interact with one another. Truth is, you wouldn't be watching me right now. You wouldn't be listening to me right now. I wouldn't even have a show if it wasn't a such thing as social media, and if I was not considered a such thing as an entrepreneur. And so now, in this 2021 world, in this 2021 age, we've got to learn to bring all of those things together, those dynamics, those strengths, the weaknesses, the flaws, the favors, all the things that make up our lives as it is today. We've got to learn to bring those things together and create what we need to create to take our families, to take our finances, to take our businesses, to take our lives to the next level. So for those of you that are watching, we're going to focus on these 3 keys to becoming a social media-preneur. But there are a few things I want to establish before we get into the details, which, by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the comments. Even if it's unrelated to what we're talking about today, still drop your comments or your questions in the comment section, because I want to make sure that we're providing as much value as we possibly can. So what are the 3 keys to becoming a social media-preneur? Well, first of all, here's what I want to lay a foundation for, and I'm going to do my best to communicate this as clearly as I possibly can. Social media, in and of itself, we're talking about the social mediums, the vehicles that you and I have been given to use to communicate to each other and to extend ourselves to each other and to build social networks and social relationships with. All of these social mediums are a part of what experts may call the digital revolution. I want somebody to put that in the comments just in case somebody else come back behind you and they'll see that phrase or that term and they'll be asking, like, what is that? This is all a part of the digital revolution. So social media, Facebook, social media, Clubhouse, social media, Twitter, social media, Periscope, social media, YouTube, social media, LinkedIn, social media, Instagram, social media, Snapchat, all of these social mediums, of course, on a personal, interpersonal relationship level, they give us an opportunity to socialize with one another. But when you add the entrepreneurial component to social media, you have to lean into understanding that social media as a whole is a part of this digital revolution. Okay, so what is a digital revolution? I really want to walk you through this so that you can understand these three keys better and know how to work them as a social media-preneur. So what exactly is the digital revolution? Well, I've got a very sophisticated definition for you. The digital revolution describes the shift from mechanical and analog electronic technology to digital electronic technology and artificial intelligence. So basically, the digital revolution is this whole transition that we as a culture, we as humans have gone through and continue to go through in our lives when it comes to technology. Okay, so that's why it is the shift from the mechanical or the analog into the digital technology or the artificial intelligence, because the digital revolution is describing that there is a transition that's taking place. There is a shift that's taking place. There is a revolution or a movement taking place when it comes to technology. Now, why is this so important? Well, this is the foundation of you understanding these three keys to becoming a social media-preneur. Because when you don't understand the impact and the importance of this digital revolution that we are living in and we've been living in, especially as an entrepreneur, when you don't understand that, you're going to be light years behind, and you're most likely not going to progress and succeed and pivot effectively as an entrepreneur. So this is why you have to understand what the digital revolution is and the role that it plays in your life as a social media-preneur. Now listen to this. The digital revolution comprises of 4 strategic phases. The first phase is data processing. Well, we've already experienced that revolution. We've already experienced the introduction in technology through data processing. The second strategic phase is personal computing. We've already experienced that revolution. We've already seen the introduction of personal computing. The third strategic phase is network computing. Well, guess what? We have seen that revolution. We have seen the introduction of network computing. And the fourth stage is cloud computing, which is what many of us are currently being introduced to. So I'm not going to get into detail of the data processing, the personal computing, and the network computing, which I do discuss this in our prophetic business boot camps and in our business masterminds. But because this is a show exclusively for a specific window of time, I'm not going to be able to get into the details, but I want to at least hit on cloud computing and why we are here in the middle of this phase of the digital revolution. Okay, let me give you an example. If you're watching me on your phone, you don't have your phone plugged into some type of internet circuit or some type of line in your home like a phone landline. It is because you are using the technology of cloud computing, which means there are satellites that exist that give you an opportunity to click on a certain app. And when you click on a certain app, the transmitters in those satellites bring the communication to that phone from that satellite, and you're able to click on the app and watch Prophet Ramone right now live. That's an aspect of cloud computing. Of course, most of the apps that we have on our phone, most of the software that we use on our computers, like when I started using QuickBooks years ago, there was no cloud-based QuickBooks software. So you had to literally take the CD-ROM, the disk, and download it onto your desktop computer. And the only way you could access QuickBooks at the time was when you were at your desktop. Now, guess what? Because of cloud computing, I can click on my QuickBooks app from anywhere in the world as long as I have Wi-Fi, wireless connections through the internet, and I'm able to access my QuickBooks account. That's a part of cloud computing. Now, there are some scriptures that actually support the revelation of this digital revolution. At least in my estimation, these are scriptures that God revealed to me to show me how they support the importance and the impact of this digital revolution. See, what I'm sharing with y'all are things that God had to teach me, because let's see here. I started on social media probably about, 2021? When Twitter came out, somewhere around 2009, I opened up my Twitter account. I think soon after, in 09 or 010, I opened up, I started a Facebook account. So I pretty much had Twitter and Facebook. I don't think it was until like real late in the double digits, like 2014 or 15, something like that, when I started either my current YouTube account or my first YouTube account. I might have got blocked out and just couldn't get back in. But whatever the case is, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, let's say if I started participating on social media in 2009 for the first time. Okay, we're talking about, what, 12 years ago? So 12 years ago was the first time that I was introduced to what is now known as Twitter and what is now known as Facebook. But because I did not understand the digital revolution, I did not understand the importance of social media as an entrepreneur. So a lot of my interaction on social media, a lot of my engagement and activity on social media was really just for personal purposes. I'm just on there being nosy, trying to see what everybody doing, watching everybody else's page, seeing what they posting, see what they got going on, trying to find people and see where old schoolmates was and where people, you know, that I might have fell out with, where they at now. You know how we be lurking on social media, but that's what everybody was doing. And a lot of people are still doing the same thing. It wasn't until 2017, I'm talking about 4 years ago, that God really like knocked on my heart and said, you need to pay attention to this. You sleeping on this, bruh. And as an entrepreneur, and more importantly, as a prophet who has an assignment in the marketplace, you are sleeping on the importance and on the impact of the digital revolution, which means you are sleeping on the importance and the impact of social media as a minister in the marketplace. How many of y'all have the same experience? I know what I'm saying is resonating with somebody, because a lot of us have had those same experiences. If you've had them, and some of y'all might still be struggling with that. You might be using social media for personal purposes and still have not really understood how to use it for professional purposes, for your entrepreneurial purposes, or to push your products and services to a place that you could get productivity. So for me, 2017 was when I know the Lord knocked on my heart's door and said, you need to pay attention to this. And that's when I started doing those little 1-minute videos. Nobody was watching them. I might have had 2 or 3 views, 4 or 5 views, 8 or 9 views, but at least I started playing around with it to figure out like what exactly is this medium, and how can it be used not just for the glory of God as a prophet in ministry, but how can it be used to advance and expand my assignment as a prophetic business owner, an entrepreneur. And that was very, very important. And so all of 2017, I played with it. 2018, I played with it. It really wasn't until 2019 that I realized that, oh, I really need to start taking this serious. That's when I started spending money on ads. I started learning and educating myself how to run ads. I started learning and educating myself how to really contextualize my content and make it relevant and meaningful, so that people like you, when you saw me on social media, you would actually pay attention to me. And it wasn't for selfish reasons. It was actually a part of a strategic process that all of us as entrepreneurs or ministers, or maybe you're both, we should all be going through this same process when it comes to social media. So just because I'm talking about being a social media-preneur doesn't mean it like X's you out as a minister. If you're a minister, if you're a business owner, if you're a hustler, a grinder, a go-getter, or you're just a servant of the Lord and you just want to do great things for him, social media is going to play a big role in that because it is an extension of the digital revolution. So here are the two scriptures I want to share with you that God shared with me, at least enlightened me on when it comes to the digital revolution. Exodus 13 and 21 talks about how we must follow the cloud. So daughter, that was the first revelation God gave me about the digital revolution when it comes to social media engagement and expansion. It was Exodus 13:21, because what happens in Exodus 13:21, God is using prophet Moses, to lead his people out of bondage, out of slavery, out of systemic issues that kept them enslaved for over 400 years. And as they exited, as they came out of bondage, God instructed them, watch this, not to follow the crowd, but notice, to follow the cloud. But think of where we are right now. When it comes to the digital revolution, we're in the strategic phase of cloud computing. So that was the first time that the Lord showed me, you need to follow the cloud, prophet. You need to follow the cloud. And this is so powerful because when I got the revelation at the time, I was teaching classes and courses and doing a lot of training in person, on site. Remember when we were at our main location in Stockbridge, we had all of our classes there. We had our school of ministry there. We had our school of prophets there. We were doing leadership training. All of the things that we did to educate and to teach and to train people, we did on that site, on that campus in person. And then when we transitioned here to Buckhead, we were having all of our classes and courses in the Buckhead boardroom. But it was around that time, we're talking about 2018, about 2.5 years ago, when I first got that revelation and the Lord started showing me, no, bro, you gotta follow the cloud. You got to follow the cloud like Moses did. And then it hit me. Oh, you're not talking about some glory cloud outside. You're talking about the cloud of social media. Wow. Because that's where we are. We're in the strategic phase when it comes to digital revolution. We're in the strategic phase of cloud computing. Wow. So that was when I started talking about I was going to launch an online university. And everybody at the time, I had quite a few students at the time, and everybody was like, an online university? And I was like, yeah, the Lord showed me I need to have an online platform for ministry and marketplace training. Wow. And they was like, well, we're not doing classes no more in person with papers. I was like, I said, we're going to the cloud. We're going to take everything cloud-based so that it can reach the world. Now, this is very important, y'all. I still haven't given y'all these 3 keys to become a social media-preneur, but I want you to catch the revelation behind what I'm talking about. So just like Moses and the children of Israel followed the cloud, we are in the cloud computing age where everything is now being taken up into the cloud with regard to the digitization of technology. So no longer are we limited to brick and mortar spaces. No longer are we limited to sticks and stone things, because now the digitization of society, of technology, has shifted us into a cloud-based world. Now think about it. God gave me that revelation 2.5 years ago before Corona. God gave me that revelation before there was a quarantine. Because think about it, if I wouldn't have moved on that revelation in 2018 and made my whole business cloud-based and made my operation cloud-based, I would have not only missed the move of God, but I would have probably been a casualty to what happened last year when the quarantine of the coronavirus hit. Because remember, in 2018, what did I do? I physically moved, but we moved out of that big facility we were in, that 5,000 square foot freestanding building. We left there. We went into another space that was more feasible, that was more mobile. But think about it. That's what Moses and the children of Israel did when they left Egypt. They became mobile. They just pitched tents. They didn't build tabernacles. They waited until they got to their prophesied place to build a tabernacle. Somebody just missed that.
I got it.
Somebody just missed that. See, you got to look at what I'm saying to you from an entrepreneur's perspective. You around here trying to build a tabernacle and you need to be pitching tents. This is not the season for you to be trying to make like elephant moves that are going to keep you in prison in a certain context. You got to be able to pitch a tent. So if in 30 days you got to pivot and shift, you can pivot and shift. If in 6 months you got to pivot and shift, you can pivot and shift. Because as an entrepreneur, this is a critical word. I don't want you to miss it. Your favor. Somebody put this in the comments. As an entrepreneur, I hope you can spell this right. As an entrepreneur, your favor in this season, your favor is in your fluidity. Ooh, somebody, I ain't make that word up. That's a real word. Did you hear what I just said? As an entrepreneur, your favor is in your fluidity. That's a real word. You know I'll Google myself. So if I'm capping, you can catch me. Let me look up the word, fluidity. Fluidity is, watch this, the ability of a substance to flow easily. Changeability, smooth elegance or grace. So God says your favor as an entrepreneur in this digital revolution, in this cloud-based season that we're in, your favor is in your fluidity. This is one of the reasons why I don't encourage people who are trying to build businesses to lock themselves down in commitments that might need to change in 6 months, in commitments that might need to change in 3 months. You don't need to put yourself in a position. You need to be like Moses and the children of Israel were in Exodus 13 and 21, where they were able to follow the cloud. We're not in a brick and mortar based society anymore. We're not in a stick and stone based society anymore, although it does exist, although it plays a major role. But the importance and the impact that entrepreneurs are going to make in this digitized world is going to be by them having the fluidity to move with the cloud. As I mentioned earlier, it's just like if you're using QuickBooks, they still have QuickBooks for desktops. And of course, there are some more sophisticated versions that you have access to when you're using the desktop version. But how many of y'all still listening to CDs? How many of y'all still watching DVDs? Why people ain't watching DVDs no more? Why we not going to the red box no more? Because we got Netflix. Yeah. So why we're not listening to CDs no more? Why you not putting CDs in a CD player and playing that music no more? You know why? Because the digitization of cloud-based computing has given you the opportunity to go to Apple Music, iTunes, and download what you want to. You ain't got to go through all that. CD scratching. You're in a different world. So you got to convert that same concept, the same revolutionized ability and fluidity to your business, to your products, to your services, to your skill set, to your hustle, to your grind. You can't stay stuck in a brick and mortar mindset, in a sticks and stones mindset as an entrepreneur. This is what social media preneurship is. And that was for free. How many of y'all with me on that? So the first scripture I gave you was Exodus 13 and 21. We must follow the cloud. The second scripture is Genesis 1:26. This is where God says we have dominion over the earth. We have dominion over the earth. So we can't make moves as entrepreneurs. See, this is what I've been leaning into. I'm telling y'all, 2.5 years ago, 2018, God told me to follow the cloud. And I made an announcement to all of my students at the time and to my church, because I was still pastoring at the time, that I was going cloud-based. We were moving out of that one location we were in. We was in a brick and mortar. We was moving out of that. We needed to be mobile. We needed to pitch a tent. We needed to be more fluid and flexible. And all the things that we were doing in person were now going to be available online. We're going to have an online university. And I made that move. Within 6 months, I launched Ramonepreston University. Within 6 months of that revelation, I launched the online university that so many people have used and continue to use right now through our Blueprint Game Plan program, through our coaching program, through our School of Prophets program. This is the result of me getting a revelation about a digital revolution to become a better social media-preneur. It was a learning curve for me. It's still a learning curve for me, but at least I'm bold enough to share what I know has worked for me with you so that you can be impacted to move forward as well. So let's look at these 3 keys to become a social media-preneur. That was so good right there. I could end right there and it'll be enough. But I'm going to give you these 3 keys. Here's the first key. The first key is social media-preneurs must understand the digitization of traditional brick and mortar and sticks and stones. I know you won't be able to write all that down. You might have to go back and rewatch it. The first key to become a social media-preneur is that you must understand the digitization of the traditional brick and mortar and the traditional sticks and stones. So let me explain to you what that means. So the traditional brick and mortar is like a physical building, right? It's a physical building you walk into. It's a physical space you have. Some of you as entrepreneurs, you have to understand, you might have in your mind your business needs a physical location, but you have to shift from the mindset of needing a physical location and creating a concept that can use a digital location or a virtual location. Even if you don't use it, you still need to have the capacity to make that transition. So for example, you might be opening up a shop that you feel like, well, I need a brick and mortar, I need a office space, or I need a physical space for that. You need to lean in enough to not feel like that's all you need. You need to be able to lean in enough to know, yes, that will help me at some point, but if I can't make money in the storefront of Facebook, if I can't make money in the storefront of YouTube, if I can't make money in the storefront of Google Ads, if I can't make money in the storefront of my email list or my text message list, all of which is digital, all of which is cloud-based, if you can't generate income as an entrepreneur, if you can't make an impact as an entrepreneur in those storefronts, having a brick and mortar location is not going to change that. And sticks and stones. When you think about sticks and stones, you're thinking about products. You're thinking about services. So a stick and a stone is like a product and a service. A brick and mortar is like a location. So think about your products and services. For all of you that have products that you're selling or services that you're selling. Because see, I go through this every week. That's why I always come in here. You was laughing at me this morning like, uh-oh, what's new? Because you know what I'm always doing? I'm always following the cloud. I'm always looking at how can I advance the digitized world that I live in as an entrepreneur. So for example, if I have a product and a service, number one, I don't need a physical location to sell this product and service. I don't need a brick and mortar in terms of space. But then if I have a physical stick and stone product and service, I have to figure out, how can I turn this product and service into a concept? How can I turn it into a concept that doesn't even require a physical product? You can do that. You can do that. Like, I sell products and services right now that are digital. They're digital products and services. They don't require a physical transaction. They don't require a physical product showing up, because I'm focusing on, how can I take brick and mortar business as an entrepreneur and make it digital, make it virtual? How can I take sticks and stones? Now, you're not going to get rid of all the bricks and mortars. They're going to always be real estate. It's always going to be buildings. But my point is, as a social media-preneur, you have to at least have the capacity to know how to shift in the digitization of the society that we live in. So the first key to becoming a social media-preneur is, you must understand the digitization of traditional brick and mortar and sticks and stones. You have to understand the digitization of that. In other words, you got to understand, for the last 11 months, a physical building ain't meant nothing to a lot of people. And the people who did not digitize their businesses, they suffered the most. They suffered the most. They suffered the most. But there were some businesses that had already created concepts that did not require a brick and mortar, and they just pivoted. There were people who had sticks and stone products and services, and they were dependent upon that stick and stone, that physical product and service. And once the quarantine was enacted, and once the pandemic hit its height, guess what happened? They could no longer sell that physical product and service, because they never converted that product and service into some type of concept or idea that did not require something stick and stonish, something physical. Am I making sense on that? If y'all understand what I'm saying so far, give me some feedback. Let me know what you getting out of what I'm saying, if you have any questions so far. So that's the first key to becoming a social media-preneur. The first key. Now you're saying, Prophet Ramone, you ain't even got like 100,000 followers on social media. How do you know all this about being a social media-preneur? Well, first of all, the number of followers you have does not determine the amount of money you make. I have spent thousands of dollars, thousands upon thousands of dollars running ads on social media. But guess what? I have made money on social media too. I have made money because I am learning and I'm growing, I'm developing, and I'm continuing to evolve in this digitized world. So no matter what type of product or service or what type of physical space I initially perceive that I need, I almost always take that product and service that I have in my mind, I take that idea and I try to push it into a digitized space. So how can I make it digital? I'll give y'all one good example. Last year, I was reading a book. One of the books I was reading, this was, I don't know when it was. It was a while back. But anyway, I was reading a book last year, and while I was reading the book, my Next Level brand came to my mind. You know, I had wrote the Next Level book. You know, for a while I had a few shirts and that we were selling to promote the book, the Next Level, the NEX Level book. But I didn't do anything with it. And the reason why I didn't do anything with it, because when I wrote that book, it was the beginning of 2018. When I had those shirts initially, it was the beginning of 2018. It was before I had that revelation of following the cloud. But so I had forgot all about it. I forgot all about the Next Level brand. I forgot all about the trademark. I forgot all about the website, the domain name. And while I'm reading the book, it hit me. Oh my God, that's an entire business. But the difference between 2020 when I did it and 2018 when I first started it is I didn't have to go buy $10,000 worth of inventory, get a pop-up shop somewhere or get a storefront to open up a next level brand store. I opened up an online store, Ramoneprestonbrands.com. So guess what? That's a whole store, sells shirts, hats, products and services with the next level brand, with my RP signature products, with JC Clancy for my mama and grandma, Joanne Charlene Clancy. All of that is on a digital platform in a digital store, and I don't have to have inventory or a brick and mortar. Because what did I do? I took the digitization of what's going on and I moved it to the cloud. Do I have to have a physical store to sell this, or do I just need a digital store? Do I need physical inventory, or do I just need processes and systems that have been digitized to simplify my entrepreneurial endeavor? Whoop, there it is. And so go to Ramoneprestonbrands.com. I want you to go there and check out the store. That just came from an idea of 2 years ago. That when I wrote a book and when I had a few shirts that I was just kind of sharing with people and giving away and selling a few of them when I was selling the book. But that turned into a digital store. It turned into a digital brick and mortar. It turned into a digital storefront. And even the products and services that I provide through Ramoneprestonbrands.com are all digital. Of course, you get a real shirt when you order one, or a real hoodie or a real hat. But my point is, I don't have to have boxes of inventory. And to each his own. Everybody got their own way of doing it. But I'm always looking for the digitized way of getting things done. That was good. LeBrian, how you doing? He says, great value. I mean, great value. That was really, really good. Okay, here's the second key to become a social media-preneur. Social media-preneurs must use all possible platforms to produce content, not consume content. All social media-preneurs, all of you who are entrepreneurs, you must use all possible platforms, to produce content, not consume content. Not consume content. You got to produce content. What am I doing right now? You watching me because I'm producing content. Whether you like it or not, or whether people flock to it or not, at some point, somebody's going to want what I have to say, and they're going to find it. And that's the good thing. I always remind my squad, my team, about that. Hey, guess what? It don't matter if I got 3,000 people watching me on the live. Guess what? Somebody's going to go to Facebook, to the archives. Somebody's going to go to YouTube. They're going to pull up something about finances, about prophetic ministry, about business, about a holding company, about taxes. They're going to pull up something, and guess who big head going to pop up in that digital storefront? Mine, because I'm producing content, not just consuming content. So if you're spending a whole lot of time on social media platforms and you're not producing content, and guess what? You should produce a whole lot of different content. You should be producing a whole lot of different content. Because how do you know? Here's the problem a lot of social media wannapreneurs do. Because see, I've tried it all. A lot of social media wannapreneurs, they get stuck in the paralysis of analysis, trying to figure out the best lighting, trying to figure out the best way to communicate, try to talk all proper. You're trying to be somebody you're not. And the problem is, when I'm watching somebody on a video, I can almost tell when they faking or when they just not being themselves. That's why when I'm in front of a camera, I'm being the same person I am when ain't nobody around. I'm talking crazy, I'm getting goofy, I'm whatever. It is what it is. I might click from time to time, but it's me. I'm not finna let a camera or a certain image that people have of me change me from being me. But at the same time, I'm gonna try different things to see what the market wants from me. I'm not gonna change for people in terms of my personality, in terms of who I am, and in terms of the type of person I am. But when it comes to being an entrepreneur, if the market is telling me, hey, this is what we like to hear from you, then guess what? I'm going to produce more of that content. I'm going to produce more of that content. We do that all the time. And guess what? A lot of times when people respond to us, anytime somebody responds to us and they say, well, most of our responses come from where? Most of the people that reach out to us, yeah, just people on social media.
Yeah,
they from YouTube. YouTube. Most of the people that reach out to us from YouTube, but it says a lot about the audience. Because a lot of people that's on YouTube, because when I go to YouTube, I'm trying to figure out how to do stuff. I'm binge watching gurus and stuff that I just enjoy. Or I'm listening to a book that somebody done hacked and put on there or something. Say what now? YouTube is amazing, especially for the type of content that I produce. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Facebook, I get a lot of attention as well, and other platforms. But my point is, I'm trying different stuff. Yeah. I'm trying to do different stuff. I'll try a show. Right now, it's the Ramonepreston show. I don't know what it's going to be in six months. But whatever it's going to be, trust me, it's going to be something that's getting me some results. I'm not going to just keep doing something that's not working, and I'm not going to not do anything. So the second key to become a social media-preneur is you must use all possible platforms to produce content and not consume content. And I'm not talking about just running commercials, not just telling people what you do. You got to educate people, which is my third key. The third key is you must creatively provide information, awareness, and a little bit of entertainment. You must creatively do that. And like I said, I ain't got 100,000 followers. I'm trying to get 2,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. I don't know how many I got on Facebook. I might have like 6,000 on LinkedIn. I might have like 1,900 and something on Instagram. But here's my point. With those low numbers compared to a lot of gurus and people who teach what I teach, I'm still making money. Not just in brick and mortar offices and locations geographically, but I still make money from social media because I'm always showing up, I'm always present, I'm always producing content, and I'm gonna make sure that I work on developing myself to creatively provide information. I gotta inform people like I'm doing right now, awareness, and entertainment. So you got to figure out, like, do I need a character to be a brand ambassador for me? Or do I just need to be myself and just start giving people what I got, sharing information with them, educating them, and producing as much different content as I possibly can? So my son, he is my social media manager. He's the content creator for our company. He does all kind of stuff. He's the videographer. He's my personal cameraman. And Ramone is always coming up with creative nuances. He always doing stuff to try to make it better. Even Trustworthy. Shout out to Trustworthy. Shout out to my Trustworthy squad. But guess what? When it came to certain things that Trustworthy, which is a digital marketing firm, certain things that they do extremely well, we had to hire them to do and pay them to do it because they know what they're doing and they understand what we want to get accomplished where? On social media. So it's not about me passing out flyers in a parking lot. Not today. Me passing out flyers today is me doing certain things on social media to get attention, to knock on not brick and mortar doors, but to knock on digital doors. So those are the three keys to become a social media-preneur. Number one, you must understand the digitization of brick and mortars and stick and stones. I'm talking about buildings and products and services. You got to figure out, how can I take my products and services and convert them into concepts? These are the entrepreneurs that are going to be winning. These are the entrepreneurs that are going to be winning, y'all. One day, probably next week, one day, yeah, probably next week, I'm gonna be talking about why businesses fail and the proper ways to create certain business structures. But one of the things that I'm probably gonna point out next week, and I wanna highlight it here just for this conversation, is when COVID hit, over 150,000 businesses closed. And guess what? They already projected over 60% of those businesses will never reopen again. That means over 100,000 of those 150,000 businesses that closed during the COVID quarantine will not reopen. And a lot of them will not reopen for reasons similar to what we're talking about. Of course, they didn't have enough money, they didn't have reserves, they was already in debt, they was already in the red, so forth and so on. But this would have at least helped. And this is gonna help you. These 3 keys to become a social mediapreneur. You gotta understand the digitization of traditional brick and mortar, of traditional stick and stones, which means you shouldn't think the only way your business is gonna survive is if you have a physical space. It could be a physical restaurant. Maybe you need to go from a physical restaurant to a food truck. It could be a physical store. Maybe you need to go from a physical store and do like I did, start a digital store. You got to get creative. You got to get your mind out of the brick and mortar, out of the stick and stone. If you do have a product and service and it's still limited to a product and service, or you as an individual, you have to figure out how can you take that product and service and convert it into a concept. Let me give you an example. Here's a good service I can use as an example. Remember taxis? They provided a service. But a taxi driver in Atlanta, or let's say a taxi driver in Buckhead, couldn't be a taxi driver in New York. They would have to drive their car there because they were limited to a stick and stone of physical service with a physical product, which is that car, right? But here come Uber. Now guess what? Uber don't need cars. They don't need inventory. They just got an app that anybody in the world can click on and people with their own cars will go pick you up. So Uber took a brick and mortar, stick and stone product and service and converted it into a concept. So they're selling the concept, just like that. Remember some restaurants don't do delivery? Yeah, and they wasn't making money. But guess what? Here come DoorDash. And even some restaurants that were not on DoorDash wish they were when the quarantine hit because they were missing money because they was closed. They couldn't make no money. If they didn't have drive up, you know, like, what do you call it, pickup? Pickup orders, they were missing money. What happened to the people that was in these malls or in these plazas when they closed? Now you can't sell, and you probably didn't have a website, you didn't have some type of digital platform. You got to convert over. Number 2, second key to become a social mediapreneur is you must use all possible platforms to produce content and not consume it. Stop consuming all this content on social media and not producing. You know I'm gonna call you out, especially if I'm helping you and coaching you or consulting you. I'm gonna let you know you need to get your behind on social media and produce content, not ads, not just telling people what you do or what you got or how good you are. Giving people your services, giving people information, which is the third key, and that is to creatively provide information, awareness, and entertainment. Make sure your business is not boring. Make sure people know what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you got to offer. That's it, y'all. I'm finished. How many of y'all enjoyed that? I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I enjoyed it myself. So shout out to all of our YouTube family, our Facebook family. I appreciate all of your support, your love. Please continue to hit the like button, the share button. Give us some feedback. If you have any questions, please let us know what your questions are. We'll be more than happy to serve you. I have been mentioning pretty much for the last few days, even the end of last week, that I am in the process. I'm in the process of launching a coaching program. It's going to be for a whole year. Let me give y'all a little preview of how it look. Whoop, there it is. Look at that there, baby. So we're in the process. Can you see that? Let me get in the picture. Oh, I'm moving myself out the picture. So this is the RP Business Coaching Program for individuals, entrepreneurs, and ministry leaders. So you can see it behind me on the screen. Right now, if you go to my main portal, Ramonepreston.com, or if you go to our university training platform, which is Ramoneprestonuniversity.com, you'll find that we have a 90-day coaching program currently. A 90-day coaching program. This is the coaching program that we provide for our clients here at RP Enterprises. It's a 90-day coaching program. And so what me and my squad, my team, what we have decided to do and we're committed to do is we're going to take 1 year and we're going to take a group, a select group of exclusive individuals, entrepreneurs and ministry leaders, and basically coach you for an entire year. And here's the good part about it. I want you to go to my website and look at what our coaching program is about, what we provide, and what we're going to produce in your life in terms of results. And I want you to think about having that coaching program for a year. So basically, I'm taking a 90-day program and I'm giving it away for a year. That means 1 3-month program I'm giving away for 12 months. So you're getting 4 coaching programs in one for the same price. And we're going to spread the payments out over the course of a year, but it does require an initial down payment. So if you're interested in being a part of this exclusive coaching program, you want to reach out to us today and let us know so that we can be prepared to add you to this exclusive group and this list that we're putting together. My goal is to launch it before April, so that gives us an entire year, 1 year, to walk with you, to work with you, and to help you. My goal, my personal goal is to help as many of these coaching clients that we bring into this 1 year program. My goal and my expectation is to bring some of you to 6 figures, literally. I know I can do that. I know I can help you do that. And I wanna make that possible. So if you're interested and would like to be a part of our upcoming coaching program, it's gonna be a very exclusive program. It's not gonna be available for everybody because I'm hands-on with this. And we're putting together an entire 1 year schedule for the coaching program. They're gonna be one-on-one sessions. They're gonna be group mastermind coaching sessions. They're gonna be boot camps. They're gonna be Zoom sessions. They're gonna be phone conference call sessions. They're gonna be reading assignments, virtual training assignments. It's gonna be 1 year full of in-depth coaching. We're literally going to put ourselves as a company on the sidelines of your life as coaches do, and we're going to help you run every play you need to play to get to your prophesied place. So all you have to do is text coaching, text the word coaching to 404-478-7213. That's if you would like to be a part of our coaching program. It's going to be life-changing, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be absolutely amazing. For those of you that would like to be a part of our Blueprint Game Plan program, our Blueprint Game Plan is our online educational training platform. We use a 5-step wealth building system to keep you focused, to keep you moving forward in your personal financial life, in your business, in your ministry, whatever it is that you're doing. And we teach you the most important aspects of financial literacy, entrepreneurship, business ownership, investments, family legacy wealth building. We have an ultimate blueprint game plan available for you. All you have to do is text "I'm ready" to 404-478-7213, and we'll plug you into one of our blueprint game plans. I love y'all. You know I appreciate all of you for your support, for your likes, for your shares, for your comments, for your feedback, for your questions. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube page. We are quickly approaching 2,000, and we want to get to 2,000 as soon as we possibly can. But whatever page you're on, whatever social media platform you're on, please make sure you like us, follow us, and share it with your family members and friends. I appreciate y'all, and y'all know tomorrow, don't meet me here, beat me here, because at 12 o'clock noon, we will be back with another edition, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So y'all have an amazing Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow, 12